The Pixel Fold is the first foldable phone engineered by Google. I had a chance to preview this awesome little phone that is actually both a smartphone and a tablet all in one. And in this video, I'm going to discuss the Pixel Fold from a photographer's perspective, including its myriad of camera features and its use as a productivity tool for photographers and other creative professionals. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me as always for today's video. Now, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and comment "Pick Me Pete" with a camera emoji for a chance to win a Viltrox 13mm 1.4 lens from Fujifilm. Download my free PDF for some portrait tips and check out my sponsors in the description below. Now, although I generally review camera gear on this channel, I was given an opportunity to spend some time with Google's first foldable smartphone, and I jumped at the chance to review this really cool piece of tech. But since this is a photography channel, my review will focus on the Pixel Fold's camera features and productivity features for photographers. When closed, the Pixel Fold feels similar to any other smartphone, and it's the thinnest folding phone on the market today. The size, shape, and depth of the phone, even with this case attached, make for a really excellent user experience, and it fits easily in a pocket, and it's roughly the same thickness and a little bit smaller than my current iPhone 11. The stainless steel hinge and the camera enclosure and the whole phone feels and looks premium, and it's an attractive device to add to your camera bag. One pleasant surprise about the Pixel Fold is that I found myself often using it closed because the front screen and the haptics technology work so well. And I will also add that this is the first non-Apple smart device that I've ever used. And although I initially thought it would make for a steep learning curve, I was really pleasantly surprised at how quickly I was able to get used to using this phone and be comfortable doing everything from checking email to loading my favorite apps and using them and sharing and taking photos. But of course, the appeal of the Pixel Fold will primarily be in its ability to open up into a 7.6-inch tablet with what Google calls an immersive display. And now when open, this does indeed operate like a tablet and offers a huge variety of productivity tools as well as tools that photographers specifically are gonna love. For example, the full display can be set to split screen, which I found to be an excellent option when checking email. In this mode, the left side of the display shows the full inbox, just like on a standard iPhone, and the right side displays the email that you currently have selected. Now, this makes checking and scrolling through multiple emails a much more streamlined task than it often feels like on a regular smartphone. The split screen feature can additionally be used to view really any two apps or web pages that you wish to view at once, which is super cool and can certainly add to more productivity when you're on the go. Although the 7.6-inch screen may seem relatively small by today's tablet standards, the Pixel Fold's high resolution and high refresh rate OLED screen make for an awesome viewing and even editing experience when you're dealing with your photos. Now, if you travel a lot and you do a lot of location work, it's easy to see right away how useful this smartphone can be, especially since most of us photographers want to travel as light as possible and still be productive. One of the first apps I downloaded was naturally Adobe Lightroom. And my library was instantly synced with the phone, and I was able to view and edit photos super easily on the fly. Although I still do prefer to edit on a large monitor in my studio, there are a lot of times where Lightroom on this Pixel Fold can come in handy. If you commute by train or plane, bringing a foldable phone, which can double as a tablet, obviously has some huge benefits. But there are also many times where I'm out and about and I just wind up waiting around, endlessly scrolling on my phone and wasting time. With this device, I can edit, view, and share galleries with my clients while I'm waiting for my car at the mechanic, for instance. Next, I downloaded another app that I use almost every day as a content creator, and that is Canva. And I use Canva for a bunch of purposes, including making thumbnails for my YouTube videos. The large touchscreen, the excellent haptics, and Canva's awesome mobile app really made this super easy to do on the phone. And since I often export these super large videos, having a secondary device where I can make a thumbnail while I'm exporting a video in 4K is super convenient and a really nice feature. Finally, I wanted to see how easy it would be to download and use the new Fujifilm X app. So I downloaded it, I installed it, and I connected to my camera, and it was super easy to do so. Now, at first I was a little disappointed because the app was still the size of a standard smartphone screen, even on the larger screen. But to my really pleasant surprise, the Pixel Fold prompted me to reopen the app for an enhanced view. And what do you know, after restarting it, the app filled the entire screen. And I was super impressed by this and really happy that it worked right away with the app without having to wait for some kind of update. And once again, the large tablet screen made a substantial difference in the entire experience of reviewing and taking photos. One criticism I have here is that there was a considerable lag between moving my camera about my studio and the X app keeping up with the live view. But I'm not sure if this was due to the app or my internet speed or the phone or perhaps a combination of all three. Regardless of this, though, the experience was really much more like connecting to an iPad than to a phone. And this has obvious benefits for us as photographers because once again, we're going to be able to see critical details much easier on the larger screen than if you're just trying to view things on your smartphone or on the back of your camera. The Pixel Fold also has quite an advanced built-in camera. The rear cameras include a 48 megapixel wide-angle camera as well as a 10.8 megapixel 5x optical telephoto zoom and a 10.8 megapixel wide-angle lens. It also includes a 20x super res zoom with re-mosaic technology, which Google claims will give you a 12 megapixel image. Other features include 10-bit HDR video, face unblur, and photo unblur, which both use machine learning technology to reduce blur and noise in images, and Real Tone, which is designed to properly render darker skin tones accurately. I did a walking tour through Central Park and I captured a variety of photos and videos with this phone, and the results are quite good for a small sensor in a smartphone. And as with viewing the photos in Lightroom, taking the photos with the native camera app becomes a much more enjoyable experience when you open the phone and you can view them on a big screen. The screen has adequate brightness for reviewing photos outdoors in all but direct sun. But when in open shade, I found it very easy to see the color, the contrast, and the detail in my images. In the portrait mode, the camera worked really well, and although the bokeh still leaves much to be desired if you're a professional photographer, it is a lot more subtle than the results I currently get with my iPhone, and it doesn't have that weird halo effect around the subject's head. Another very interesting and useful camera feature is the long exposure mode, which doesn't require the use of a tripod. Now, I tried this mode to blur water in a brook while hand-holding the phone, and this feature was most impressive to me as a photographer because there's no tripod involved and everything but the water is tack sharp. Now, this isn't the greatest image ever, but I was just trying to see how it worked and I was impressed. Later on, I went to a nature preserve with my family and I captured this image of a flower. But it wasn't until I got home, however, that I realized that the flower was not sharp, only the edges were in focus. So I decided to see if I could use some of the phone's editing tools to fix it. I used the color focus editing tool, and to my surprise, once again, I was able to adjust the focus simply by tapping on the center of the flower. This fixed the image so that the flower was no longer blurry and was in complete focus, which is super cool. The Pixel Fold also has an impressive dynamic range for a small sensor. I took this picture of the San Remo building framed by trees in the standard automatic mode. And I edited this photo in the camera using its built-in software, and I enhanced the sky a little bit, and I also used the shadow slider to bring out a little bit more detail in the trees in the foreground, and the result is very nice. Now, to be fair, I still much prefer to take a small camera with me than to use pretty much any smartphone for my images, But there are many times when lugging an XT5, for instance, is not convenient nor practical, especially with two small children in tow. In these instances, the Pixel Fold offers a lot of excellent photo features that us photographers should like, and the quality is much better than my current iPhone, which I will say is an 11. Finally, if you're at a family wedding, for instance, and Aunt Mildred asks you to take a photo of all your aunts and uncles and grandmas and everyone else, the large screen makes composing images really easy, and it allows you to see critical details like closed eyes very easily. So it is going to make for better photos in this way. Also, you're able to just flip the screen around and show everyone and make sure people are happy with the way they look in the photo. And all of this is going to be really, really well received by pretty much everyone, especially people who use the phone as their only camera. After using the Pixel Fold for a couple of weeks, I have found a lot to love about this innovative and thoughtfully designed smartphone. As a tool for a photographer, it certainly has a broad appeal, and more importantly, its form and function as a phone was not sacrificed by Google in order to accommodate a folding screen, which is awesome. Now, regarding the folding screen, there are a couple of things that you should know. First of all, when the phone is open, the seam between the two screens is still visible a little bit, although it's almost not noticeable when you're in a situation where there's not a lot of glare. So the more glare there is, the more you're going to see the seam. And of course, it would be nice to have a screen with zero seam. Second, the foldable screen is going to be more delicate than a traditional smartphone screen. So we will have to wait and see to know the long-term durability of the screen itself. Now, on a positive note, the screen and the closed design feel very robust, and it feels pretty much like any other phone on the market, so kudos to Google for that. Finally, and probably most importantly, you should know that a Google Pixel Fold is going to start at $17.99 US, and it goes up from there depending on the memory you want. All right, well, that's all I have for you today. Now, I am going to do some more videos on this phone because I've only had it for a couple of weeks, and I wanted to give you my initial thoughts on it. I hope you found this video to be helpful to you and hopefully a little bit entertaining as well. Let me know in the comments below if you did and if you intend on spending a big chunk of change on this really cool phone. Here's wishing you an awesome day, everyone. Go out and take some great pictures, my friends, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.